welcome to another episode of rawradianthealth.com, and I'm Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me. So today is Wednesday, it's the middle of the week, and today I want to talk about fitness and the raw food diet because yesterday I was having a consultation with one of my clients, and we were pretty much going over sort of we were making some fitness goals for her, and she brought up a really good point, and something that when she brought it up, it was like a big light went off for me, because I went through the same exact thing when I first went raw. And pretty much she's always been doing different types of exercise, but she's been sort of hesitant about it ever since getting onto raw foods, because the diet's been going so well for her. She's 100% raw and it's all going really, really good. But it's, there's this part of her that was used to doing exercise while being on sort of a standard diet, and a diet that's got, sugar, and it's got coffee and a lot of stimulants to stimulate, the ability to do exercise and to be doing cardiovascular exercise and endurance stuff, right? And so there's this fear and sort of this hesitation to go and do that same type of exercise, because there's, almost like this little voice in her head that's kind of like, ooh, but what if I can't do it on the raw food diet? What if the diet can't sustain me? What if the diet doesn't give me enough energy? What if I need that extra boost from artificial things like sugar and coffee, things like that, what if I just can't do it on the raw food diet and then I feel let down? And so she's been kind of hesitant to go back to her old routine. But what was interesting to me was because I went through the same exact thing. When I first went raw, I was terrified that it would really have a bad effect on my daily exercise routine, because I was a runner. I used to run an hour a day every day, and I also, though, relied on sugar and coffee. I used to drink a crazy amount of coffee, especially right before I go and have my workout, that I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to run without it. I was terrified. I was like, because the diet was going so well and I was feeling so good, but I was just kind of like hesitant about going back and doing what I was doing before, because I was just so afraid to be let down, and so afraid to not have that energy that really gave me that high, made me feel good, made me feel alive. And I have to say, and this is why I'm sharing this with you today, is that I was actually pleasantly surprised to see the reverse being true, that I had even more energy than I could even imagine. And I was telling my client yesterday that within a year I was running up to 2 hours a day, and that was on my first year being on a raw food diet. I was up to running 2 hours, you guys. 2 hours, something that I never thought I can do. But it was like I just couldn't stop. I just kept going and going and going. And this was without the coffee, it was without the sugar, it's without any stimulants, and just being on a raw vegan diet, 100%, just fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, and being able to have really accessible energy, clean fuel. That's the one thing that, like, if any of you are out there that are kind of thinking about the raw food diet and you like to exercise and you're kind of like, ooh, I don't know if these two things will work together, I have to tell you is that when you experience it, you will feel just that clean. To me, that's the biggest high almost. It's just feeling clean while I'm doing it. And it's a big difference than getting your fuel from like high fructose corn syrup and caffeine. Okay, so big difference. And you'll see too that your endurance will just expands, and it heightens. And there's many reasons behind it. And the first thing is that suddenly you're on, first of all, like a water-rich diet, okay, which is hydrating you. It's giving you all those vitamins and those minerals and antioxidants and electrolytes, those things that you naturally need, that you're getting constantly from all the food you're eating, okay? And anyone knows that does any kind of exercise is that you always need to be well hydrated. If you walk into any kind of exercise routine and you're dehydrated, it's just, it's just downhill from there, okay? So the first thing is to be hydrated, and you just naturally get it from the diet, whereas a cooked diet, it dehydrates you, okay? So the second thing is if you have a diet that's high in greens, that's where you're getting the amino acids, okay? And those are the proteins. But greens, not only do they give you those great proteins to rebuild the tissues and everything and get you strong, but they also neutralize an acidic environment in the body. As anyone knows, doing any kind of exercise is that there's always a buildup of lactic acid, okay? And that's what causes inflammation and irritation in the body and aches and pains, everything, right? Every athlete knows is that, the main thing that they're dealing with after any kind of workout is to bring down that lactic acid and to neutralize it, right? So the best thing to do is to have greens, and that's what we have in our diet every single day. And greens are alkaline, so they're the opposite of acid, and so they neutralize that acidic condition in the body, neutralize the lactic acid and everything, and that brings down any kind of inflammation. Like for me, for example, I suffered for many years with, just aches and pains, a lot of inflammation in my joints, bursitis, and in my hip, just so many issues, okay? And I was always, I was able to figure out certain foods that were really triggering it. Like in the past, it used to be dairy products was a huge issue with inflammation in my joints. And by cutting that out, and then by cutting out sugar and the wheat, and eventually all processed food and all cooked foods, I don't have any swelling or inflammation in my joints. That's the last thing I ever have. Like, I don't wake up with that kind of ache and pain. Here and there I might have some muscle tenderness or feeling like, I really worked it, but the recovery time now compared to what it was when I was on a cooked food diet, it's like cut in half, I'm able to go and exercise every day and no issue, whereas in the past I'd have to take off, a day in between, or I'd be just pushing myself too much, and I could just feel like almost like the aches and the pains just building up, okay? Whereas I don't get that anymore. And in fact, I work out even more than I ever did before. So I have to say that if you are any way like concerned or hesitant about trying the raw food diet because you don't want it to interfere with your workout, have no fear, go for it, because you know what? You are going to be pleasantly surprised, and you might actually be like, this is like the magical key that I've been looking for in order to really be able to take my fitness routine to the next level, okay? So I highly suggest to anyone, exercise and raw foods, they go hand in hand, okay? If you want to have optimal health, you need the two, and you can really, you can feel it, you see it, it's one does not work without the other, and you want to be your sparkling self. So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with today. Get on to doing some outdoor activity. Get your heart rate going. Sweat things out. That's how we detoxify. That's how we get things moving, our circulation going, our skin just being vibrant, okay? So get on to the exercise, get on to the fruits and vegetables, and have the most fabulous, fabulous day. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!